Okay, hi everybody. I wanted to talk today about vulnerability. Not today, I actually saw this video again that I was watching over the weekend. It was a short clip about vulnerability that Dr. Brene Brown was talking about, and it's really spoke to my spirit. And so I wanted to share with you on today. She said that to be brave in your vulnerability. And she said, whenever you feel or you're in the moment and you feel that your walls have to go up, or you feel that you have to choose to put that block up, she said, stay aware, stay brave. She said, I'm not saying that you got to spill and cry and tell everybody all your business and things like that. But she was basically talking about staying aware of that wall, staying aware of not being defensive. So I would encourage you guys to look up that short clip. It's Brene Brown Vulnerability on YouTube. And it's really, really good. But it really resonated with my spirit because it had me think about my awakening that I had 7 years ago. And one of the areas that I had in particular was my encounter with God. And God began showing me who I did not have to show up as. And that part of me was being defensive. I lived most of my life very, very defensive. As a little girl, I can remember crying a lot because I would feel things. And I did not know at the time that I was an empath, I'm able to feel people. And so, and I was a very sensitive person. And the word sensitive, when I would hear teachers tell my mom, or I would hear my mom tell me that sensitivity, that you're so sensitive, it really, what it came across to me was, you're so sensitive, don't be that way. You're so sensitive, stop crying about everything. And so there was a part of me that really guarded, it became very guarded because of that. And so I became very defensive. And the experience, some of the experiences that I had, growing up, that it just wasn't so pleasant. Some kids who weren't the nicest, or some adults who said certain things. It really caused me to be very, very guarded, and this hardness that I would have in my heart, and these different agreements that I would create in my mind to keep myself what I thought was protected in the world. And isn't it interesting how the narratives oftentimes that we say to ourselves to keep ourselves guarded or to keep ourselves protected, thinking that that is a way of protection or power or a sense of like feeling safe. But I want to share something with you that I understand. However, I also understand that that is the type of maintenance in your garden that isn't producing good fruit. Vulnerability is the real strength. Being who you are authentically is the real strength. That's the real power. And once again, I'm not saying you just expose and tell everybody all of your what's going, everything that's all in your heart. Even if you feel that way, if you feel led to do that, that's fine. But what I really am just talking about is you being aware of you and what your walls are. I know what my walls have been, and I know how I can easily create them because of how I thought I had to show up in life. But can I really be honest with you? I don't want to be that anymore. I just don't. I don't choose to show up in that. And whenever I feel that part of me comes up, because it does, I stay aware. I stay aware. It's a job because my mind is very hardwired to remember the things that were wrong, or to remember the things that were, that hurt me, or and especially if it started as a child, that kind of really became the legs or the foundation of me. But in reality and truth, it just wasn't. And it just isn't. It's a mask that I have worn many of times. It's a mask that I thought that has worked, but in reality and in truth, when you go home to you, it wasn't really until God told me that isn't who you really are, and it isn't how you really think you have to show up. I'm getting ready to show you who you really are. And that required me taking down what I thought was strength. See, a lot of times the world speaks a lot about power. A lot of times we have been taught, I know I've been taught, being sensitive or being expressing oneself through tears is considered weak, but it's not. It's actually bold to believe that. It's not. It's who you authentically are. It's your expression. There is a level of balance, of course, but don't hide who you are. Vulnerability is strength, and it ultimately, at the end of the day, it is what is within your heart and what you're willing to allow God to show what's in the heart so that you can be intimate with who you really are. Because that's what it's about. We all want connection, but really, that's another thing Brene Brown has shared about. But I believe we all want connection, right? But really that connection is making sure that we are connected with ourselves and being true to what's in our hearts, and it's your own recipe. But at the end of the day, it's not about perfectionism, but really showing up in authenticity and being that and not hiding from that. So do it today. I also want to mention that I did a workshop, a pre-recorded workshop that I have on my website that talks about healing from your childhood wounds. And I really talk about dismantling those voices, dismantling those beliefs, dismantling those agreements that we oftentimes carry, but that isn't the truth of who we are. So I'll leave the link in my description in the caption below.